So in lesson 67 part 3 we're working on putting in the nice warm environment of the Explanar swing studio out of the autumn and winter weather. No better place to practice and work on your short game where you're putting. So in the last section we talked about the art of rolling the ball. We explained that the mechanics were important, but the ability to roll the ball, which is an instinctive inherent skill that you might possess, is even more important. So we don't want to diminish the importance of mechanics, because basically when you're timing the putt well, all is well. But we're not robots, and sometimes we mistime the strike. Now, if our mechanics are good, we have a greater percentage of misses that are workable. If our mechanics are poor and we lose our timing, we lose everything. So it's good to have correct mechanics, and let's look at the science of that. So the DNA of any swing, as you know, is in the length of the club. So this is the shortest club in the bag. It's only 34 inches long, the putter, or the flat stick as our American cousins call it. So therefore you have a very upright swing. A driver is all power and shape and creativity, and it's a flat rotational movement. When you get to a 34.5-inch putter, then the putter is much more upright. It's illegal in putting to have the shaft vertical, because that would be a perfectly mechanically straight mechanism. There has to be a few degrees of lie angle between vertical. Okay, we're not allowed to have a vertical shaft. Okay, so if you imagine that the putter head was there and this was hanging, then the mechanism, it would be like the London Eye. It would be a perfectly vertical plane, like a Ferris wheel. So if we had a model of the London Eye that's about this tall, what's actually happening is we tip the London Eye a few degrees here. So that means that the putter head no longer goes straight back and straight through. The putter actually describes a mild arc. All right, so how does that arc develop? Well, the answer is, once you've placed the putter and aimed it, you then lean forward and let your arms hang. Now, what you've developed here is the hinging area of the putting stroke, around the neck and the shoulders. Okay, my wrists could cock, my forearms could rotate, but we don't use those areas. We just allow the shoulders to facilitate the backswing. Now, having told you that the shoulders facilitate the backswing, I'm not saying that they create it. When I was in my early teens, I was reading the P.G.A annual about the golf matches at Wentworth, and it talked about Bob Charles, the great left-handed New Zealand player who was the best putter of his era. And in the copy next to the photograph it said, the great New Zealander Bob Charles who puts from the shoulders. Well, sure enough, young Blacklock's out the next day trying to putt from the shoulders, you see. Well, there's no feel in the shoulders. So the shoulders don't create the stroke, they facilitate it. I believe that when we use an implement, particularly a putter, the hands are key. But the hands are working within the mechanism that the shoulders provide. So we don't putt from the shoulders, and nor do we putt from the hands, because we'd be erratic. We need to combine the creativity of hand action within the plane that the shoulders create. You see, when Tiger starts putting at the start of the day to warm up, he putts for 5 or 10 minutes right hand only. He and Butch believe that there's a strike and a release of the putter head. Now, with all the fat grips and so on that we see, the phrase is take the hands out of the stroke. And I think that's not a great idea, particularly on slower British greens. We need the hands to work, but invisibly within the stroke. So you can see that if I lean forward, my arms are hanging. If I bring my hands together, I can make a very simple mechanism. So I only have one basic hinged area, which is around my shoulders and my neck. Now, sometimes people bend their knees and they have bent elbows and bent wrists. Now, if you do all that, you've got 7 hinges. You've got 2 wrist hinges, 2 elbow hinges, 2 shoulder hinges and neck. You've got 7 hinges. You've got all chance of wobbling. But the beauty of good posture with the arms hanging onto the putter is that then the hands naturally want to describe a nice mild arc. Not dead straight back, nor to the inside, but the arc will come off the shoulder line. You see, when I play snooker, my elbow is a hinge. I'm not motivated from my elbow, but the elbow is allowing me to move the cue with my hand. Same is true in darts. My elbow acts as a hinge. It facilitates the hand action. So I'd suggest to you that when you're leaning forward and your hands come together, the shoulders are permitting and creating a Ferris wheel movement that's very accurate. But that of itself is stillborn. You have to have creativity. So we offer the club, I lean forward, take my stance. Now, for me personally, I feel that my hands take the putter head back and my hands strike the ball. And as long as they do that within the plane, we're accurate. Now, among great teachers, there'll be quite a bit of discussion about this. Many teachers are encouraging people to take the hands out of the stroke. Personally, I think the hands are important. It's one of those grey areas, because we're balancing between the art of putting and the science of putting. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. So if you putt well, feeling that you have dead hands, then you keep doing that. However, you may have tried that and found that your distance control is not so good. You might like to try what I've just showed you. So the essence is, you need the art of the hands, the creativity of the hands, disguised within the stroke. And the stroke comes from the shoulder line.